Hey, Lashy Kids and Driving Mutants. I have a new show today, and it is called Horror News Weekly or Weekly Horror News. I haven't decided completely what the name is going to be, but we're going to go with Horror Weekly for now. Let's get into the stories, and I'm going to be reading a lot. This is more of a podcast, so it's definitely very listenable. My aim is to have something for you guys to listen to at work. The reason why I started the broadcast later in the day is because when I had posted it for 3 p.m., my sister said to me, "You can't do it at 3 p.m. Everybody's going to be listening to the updates on a Diddy trial." And I said, "You're right. They probably will be listening to the updates on the Diddy trial, so I better wait until afterwards." So hopefully you guys are all updated and we can get into our first news story. Headline reads, Sinners slides into an elite tier for horror movies at global box office. This comes to us courtesy of Collider, and this happens to be written by Rahul Malhotra. So shout out to Rahul. It says, having completed a month of release in theaters worldwide, director Ryan Coogler's Sinners have passed yet another milestone at the global box office. This weekend, the movie faced direct competition in the form of Final Destination Bloodlines, which in fact beat its opening weekend record from last month, which means that Bloodlines opening weekend had a higher opening weekend than Sinners opening weekend. But Sinners has already crossed, I believe, 200,000, 200 million. Sorry, 200 million. Hey, Fominky Latte. Let's continue. The sixth installment in the long-running action franchise, which had been lying dormant for 14 years, grossed $51 million in its opening weekend at the domestic box office, while Sinners slipped to the number 3 spot. Sinners held on to number 1 for 2 weeks in a row, almost 3, possibly 3 weeks in a row. That being said, the movie made $15 million domestically in its 5th weekend and added nearly $4 million from overseas territories for a cumulative international haul of $76 million. Domestically, the film's total box office collection stand at $240 million. Sinners now has overtaken the all-time classic The Exorcist at the domestic box office. So I didn't know that it's been 50 years. The Exorcist has been the number 1 horror movie as far as domestic and gross for 50 years. That's huge. Let's go back to that. Sinners has now overtaken the all-time classic The Exorcist at the domestic box office and is now the 3rd biggest horror movie of all time. The list is topped by the first It, with Steven Spielberg's breakout blockbuster Jaws at number 2. Sinners' global haul now stands at the terrific 316 million. Wow, that's a big deal, especially for a movie that is not an already known intellectual property or a sequel. The movie's eyeing anywhere between 350 million and 400 million when the dust settles. It's a remarkable result for an original. See, that's just what I was saying. It's a remarkable result for an original genre film, but Coogler has systematically climbed the Hollywood ladder, proving himself at every budget level. His breakout movie, Fruitvale Station, was a tiny indie. Then he made the Rocky spinoff Creed, which grossed over 175 million worldwide against a reported budget of 40 million. 2 mega budget Marvel movies, Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, followed and grossed a combined total of over 2 billion worldwide. Each of those films cost over 200 million to produce. Coogler is among the highest grossing filmmakers ever with just 5 features under his belt. That's impressive. Sinners comes with a reported price tag of 90 million, which put it at a for a horror movie, that's a pretty high budget. Horror movies typically don't have super high budgets. They're usually low budget to mid budget. So 90 million for a horror movie is pretty high budget. A horror movie that isn't a monster movie like any of the Godzilla, King Kong, Jurassic Park. Yes, these are also horror movies. They are monster movies. They're giant monster movies. What's the word? Kaiju. That's the word I was looking for. Kaiju to be specific, but they're still horror movies. The movie reunites Coogler with his longtime creative collaborator, star Michael B. Jordan, whose career box office has now passed the 1.5 billion mark domestically. Coogler himself is among the 25 highest-grossing filmmakers in domestic box office history. With Sinner's success, the movie holds a 97% Rotten Tomatoes score. He has elevated himself into an elite group of auteurs who are granted unusual freedom with the studio system. Sinners is playing in theaters. Stay tuned to Collider for more updates. What do you guys think of that? I think that's really great news, and hopefully it will lead to more original horror movies or original movies in general being produced. Because not that I have anything against sequels or reboots. If they're done well, I will definitely go and watch it. But I think there's been an over reliance on already known intellectual property. So I hope that this allows for more directors to get their films greenlit and given a decent budget. Because I mean, horror films have proved themselves over and over and over again to be pretty profitable. So I think this is really good news. Sorry, my eye is itching. It probably is allergies. So if it looks funny that I keep scratching my eyes are itchy. I should have taken an allergy medicine. Okay, our next the headline is not displaying properly, but I'll have to read it the way it is. All right, this is from Surrey Live. Viewers issued do not watch warning as gross horror inspired by Cinderella now free to stream. This is about the movie The Ugly Stepsister, which is no, thank you. Not right now. The Ugly Stepsister is what I call public domain horror, just like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Mouseboat, Shiver Me Timbers, these horror movies that are made off of children's stories. This one is based off of Cinderella. It's now streaming on Shudder, as I know, and I think it's on Amazon Prime. Tony Man says, didn't Terrifier 3 have a big budget, or was it small? I'm unsure of Terrifier 3's budget, but I would think it was medium size. I'll look that up in just a moment. Filmmaker Light says, hopefully there won't be a lot of Sinners knockoffs. Yeah, I don't want what happened with Get Out, where we had these movies that were trying to be deep, but they just kept on missing the mark. That movie wasn't gross. It wasn't even disturbing to me. Well, it was pretty gross to me, but I will continue. Oh, did it say the author's name? Samantha King. It says content editor. That makes, when it says content editor, does that mean that you didn't write this? Does it mean that AI wrote it? Or is content editor also your title, but you also write? That's a little odd to me that says content editor instead of just written by. But shout out to Samantha King for putting this up. Says fans of the new Oscar-winning body horror, The Substance, are being encouraged to watch a nauseating new film that draws inspiration from the classic Cinderella story. The Ugly Stepsister is a far cry from Disney's interpretation of the classic fairy tale, drawing more heavily from the Brothers Grimm version, complete with its share of bodily mutilation. If you're not familiar with the Brothers Grimm version of Cinderella, it is very disturbing when you really think about it. And some of the things that I have seen The Ugly Stepsister, and some of the things that happened in this movie did happen in the original Cinderella. But some of these things that are in The Ugly Stepsister did not happen in Cinderella. So there's that. The cast of the horror comedy includes Leah Myron as Elvira and Netflix La Palma star Thea I'm not sure if it's pronounced Thea Nice as Ascapa, with Isaac Kalmroth. These names are killing me. I'm sorry, these European names. Forgive me. I will try that again. The cast of the horror comedy includes Leah Myron as Elvira, and Netflix La Palma star Thea Ness as Ascapa, and Isaac Kalmroth playing Prince Julian, and Anne Torp portraying the stepmother. The official synopsis of the film states, a sinister twist on the classic Cinderella story. The Ugly Stepsister follows Elvira as she prepares to earn the prince's affection at any cost. In a kingdom where beauty is a brutal business, Elvira will compete with the beautiful and enchanting Agnes to become the belle of the ball. The film's critique of body image and beauty standards is evident, with Elvira resorting to extreme measures to win over her prince. One critic said it perfectly encapsulates the very real horrors of being a woman, adding, "The ugly stepsister takes the idea of a fairy tale and transforms it into a nauseating body horror masterpiece." Hip Tanasha says, "I started watching your videos because of your amazing review of The Substance." Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Because when I put effort into editing, and collecting all my thoughts together and trying to present it, I really hope that people get some enjoyment out of it. So I really appreciate your comments, and Tanasha. Is there anything else to the story? Is it that short? Oh no, there's a little bit more. Here we go. As of now, the 2025 film holds an impressive 95% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, with an audience score of a solid 86%. However, many critics have issued a warning to potential viewers. It's extremely gory, reports The Mirror. 30 years of film criticism, and this is the first time that I've had to turn away from the screen for fear of retching, the Times critic Kevin Maher said, or wrote. Alongside professional critics, audiences have also been expressing strong opinions, with one viewer sharing, "Guys, it was good. Go see it. It's really gross, though." Another viewer didn't mince words. "Horrible. Hated every second of the movie. That's how they wrote it. I'm actually feel nauseous. Do not watch." Meanwhile, another offered a contrasting view. "It was incredibly upsetting. It was also genius and unrelenting. I don't regret watching it at all. However, the feeling it leaves you with is not a good one." And is that it? I think that TV lovers can get 30 days free to tantalizing TV like Boys, Reacher, and exclusive Champions League games by signing up to Amazon Prime. Just remember to cancel at the end so you won't be charged. So you could probably watch this on Amazon Prime for free if you do that 30-day trial. The Ugly Stepsister has been likened by some to the Oscar-winning The Substance due to its blend of gruesome body horror and an exploration of themes related to body image. Having made its debut at the Sundance Film Festival earlier this year, the Norwegian horror has now landed on home streaming services. For those daring enough to watch it, The Ugly Stepsister can be streamed on Shudder, which is currently offering a 7-day free trial to new subscribers. Shudder is also available as an addition to Amazon Prime subscription at a monthly fee of $4.99. Although I think it might be cheaper for you to do the yearly program with Shudder, because I think we do that, and I think our Shudder only costs $30-something for the entire year if you just pay the year up. But yeah, I would class this as being very similar to The Substance. It would make a good double feature. I did do a short review during a live stream with Tony Man, but I will do like a more complex review of this movie, similar to the review that I did for The Substance. I'm also working on another movie that came out before The Substance, but has so many similarities. It's a Japanese film, but you guys got to wait until I drop that one. By the way, it's taking me a little bit longer in between videos because I'm trying to research more and make my videos a little bit more like film essays. So that's why it's taking me a little bit longer to produce. But in between them, I have started to release very short reaction videos. Hopefully you guys don't mind that there's not any edited content in my reaction videos, but I didn't want it to go so long in between movie review videos, and that's why I started doing those shorter ones. Let me move on to the next story. What do you guys think of, have any of you guys seen The Ugly Stepsister or even heard of it? It hasn't been advertised too tight. So, it might be flying under the radar. Hopefully, well, I actually should review it sooner than later so that it does get more buzz going for that reason. Tony says, "Oh my God, this is great marketing." Do you mean having you mean the article is marketing, saying it's so gross? Yeah, because to you said that it didn't really make you feel grossed out. I was definitely cringing. Okay, let's go into our next story. This comes to us courtesy of Cinema Blend. Um, Tanash says, I haven't heard of it, and it sounds like it was made for me. Yes, it's very, very gross. Know what else I liked that they put back into the movie? They put sensuality back into it also. There were some scenes that will remind you of those movies from the 90s, like Lady Chatterley's Lover, that type of thing. And I feel like a lot of current horror has been kind of stripped of anything sexual. I don't have a problem with putting sexual things in horror. I think that's fine as long as, obviously if it's rated R. But yeah, this movie was also a little bit sexy. And let me add to that, not just the male gaze, very much the female gaze in different points of the movie, very much the female gaze. I enjoyed that part of it, i.e. the male nudity. Yeah. Tony says, very familiar to the scenes, love them. Remember, controversy creates cash. This is true. This is true. I wouldn't be surprised though if some people did, because you have to be a fan of gore. Like if you're not a fan of gore, if you're not a fan of body horror, and the way the trailer presents the ugly stepsister, it's going to attract a crowd that might be more into indie horror, more into I don't want to say like highbrow elevated horror type of thing, and then you go to see it. That's why it's being compared to The Substance, because The Substance did the same thing. It was very indie feeling, very thoughtful, and then balls to wall gore at the end. All right, let's get into this Cinema Blend story. Written by Mac Rowden. The title reads, A24's new horror movie is getting incredible buzz and just set up a ton of free screenings around the country. Yeah, unfortunately, there was not one in my area, and I was really upset about that because I wanted to see this one. Most horror fans have learned to trust A24 at this point. Trust them to be weird. I love how weird A24 is. Did you guys see that movie about the lamb? It was called Lamb. It was called Lamb. And there was another one called Men. And that one, the ending, oh, I want to spoil the ending for Men so bad, but I need to see. Type in the chat if you've seen Men, and then I could talk about it. If you haven't seen Men, I'm just gonna say it's a very interesting movie, and it does that similar thing to what I was just talking about with The Substance, where it's a very quiet, thought-provoking film, and then at the end, gore upon gore upon gore, but in a really beautiful way, in my opinion. Okay, most horror fans have learned to trust A24 by this point, but if there was any doubt, the early response to Bring Her Back has put that to rest. To say the buzz from the first screening was positive would be an understatement. The critics lucky enough to be in the auditorium were effusive in their praise for the upcoming A24 movie, and equally as aggressive in their warnings about how scary it is. Grain of salt with that, because scary is very relative. What scares one person is not scary to the next person. Fortunately, after this week, you'll get a chance to see what they've been screaming about. Cinema Blend is partnering with A24 to roll out free screenings of Bring Her Back to fans all around the country. Each is going to take place this Thursday evening and will feature the entire movie. I repeat, the entire movie. This is not see, they keep saying this as if this is something out of the ordinary. Different companies do movie screenings all the time, especially Lionsgate. Lionsgate is great for giving us free screenings. But the way this article is written as if a free screening is just this once in a lifetime thing. Maybe they're phrasing it that way because it's A24, and maybe A24 doesn't generally give movie screenings. Okay, where did I leave off? This is not the limited taste the studio showed off back in Los Angeles in late March. This is the whole movie those critics gushed about last week. To sign up, all you need to do is choose your city from the landing page. There's screenings in Boston, Chicago, Houston, and more than a dozen places in total. After you pick your location in the drop down, just give some basic information to RSVP. I can't recommend it enough. If you're into horror movies, if you're not into horror movies, you might want to sit this one out because it sounds like you won't sleep for a month. Our own Eric Eisenberg called it deeply shocking. Another called it a stressful nightmare. Another used a word that starts with F to make their point. They clearly meant all those statements, but for the wrong type of person. They should serve more as ominous words of warning. If you're somehow still on the fence, you can check out the trailer below. Oh my goodness. I will play the trailer in a second. Bring Her Back is from Danny and Michael Filippo, the same creative team that directed the surprise hit Talk to Me. I did enjoy Talk to Me. I have to admit I enjoyed Talk to Me. Their feature-length debut was made on a shoestring budget in Australia and was later released by A24 in the United States. Also, by the way, the two of them, they're brothers, and I believe they were YouTubers before they went into film. It went on to gross nearly $100 million. One of our writers here at Cinema Blend called it the scariest horror movie she'd seen in years, and her reaction wasn't really over the top compared to what others are saying. Bring Her Back isn't a sequel to Talk to Me, but has been referred to as a spiritual sequel and is getting just as strong or better word of mouth. It follows a brother and sister who meet their new foster sibling who is hiding a secret. Very interesting. Have you guys heard of Bring Her Back yet? Fomiki Lati says, I've only seen the trailer for Men. Definitely check it out. It's not a very long movie, which I don't think the story took a long time to tell. It is an allegory for certain things in life. And the ending, I just love the ending of it. I've seen Men and don't want to see Lamb. I like a couple A24 movies, but not too many. Too many lose my interest. You like Talk to Me so much that you have the hand. Yes, I do. I should show that to you guys. You know what? Let me do this and I'll show you guys the hand. This is it right here. It's pretty cool. You see it's got different languages written on it. It's really nice work. This was ordered from a seller on Etsy. I don't have their name. And then on the base, when I turn, the candle's removable. The arm is removable too, but on the base it says "Talk to Me." It's probably mirrored backwards, but and then the candle that's on there is just one of these. Let me see if I flick it. There we go. It's just one of those imitation candles, but this is a really nice piece of work. Let me see if I could get it up real close. The seller says that when you buy this, your name is hidden amongst one of the writings on the arm. I haven't found my name yet on it. I would say, because I don't remember the seller's name, I think you should put your name. Let me see. Yeah, you should put your name on the base of your work. That way, people can always give you credit for it. But I wish I would have taken down the name. Let me put this back. Okay, you guys want to see the trailer for Bring Her Back? Let's look at it. Oh, got a couple more comments here. I love your channel. Thanks, Hey, Stacy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I just turned the candle on. I wish I would have saw that note. I believe your name is some. Yeah, I was just saying that. Okay, so let's check out this trailer. Hopefully it plays on this site because this is on it. Sounds like it's also set in Australia. Okay, so it's a creepy kid movie? It's hard to tell with A24 trailers. Oh, that's creepy. I don't like that. Okay, now that's interesting. A little bit vague. The trailer's kind of vague, but I guess it's a good thing because it's not spoiling the movie. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me replay it with the audio. I didn't realize it wasn't showing the audio. Okay, I'm going to do this. I gotta stop the screen in order to do that. Event. Okay, let's try that again. All right, how about now?
How did you cope with Kathy being gone? I didn't.
I wish I could do an Australian accent, but I can't.
This is their new sister and brother, Oliver. Oliver lost his family just like you guys. Needed someone that could give him special care. Listen, I gotta tell you a secret. Listen. It's like an angel. It's a beautiful angel. It does beautiful things. Listen. Listen.
I said the makeup is good.
Listen. Some people believe the spirit stays in the body for months after death. It's working. We can bring her back. Listen.
Yeah, let me jump down. Thumbs up or okay. I wonder if there's going to be some kind of death cult involved in a plot of Bring Her Back. Yeah, it seems like something. Eric also said sometimes they come back. Yeah. Um, it seems that like if I had to guess, the plot seems like this woman gets this foster child and he's really weird and they're probably trying to work with him knowing that his mother is just recently deceased and he's probably like, yeah, well, she's coming back. And they're like, no, she's not coming back because she's deceased. But then he does some weird stuff and his mom actually does come back. That's what it feels like it might be. Oh, I changed the screen. I meant to be like that. Let's go on to some TV stuff. Let me close that out and then do this again. Which is weird because some of these things, like, I don't see them as, I mean, I can't visualize them as TV stuff. Thank you. All right, so this one is coming to us courtesy of Fangoria, written by Maggie Bocella.
You'll see some sun and thunderstorms. You can expect a high of 87 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 74 degrees.
I don't know if you guys can hear Alexis telling me the weather. Where was I? Fangoria article written by Maggie Bocella. Title reads, Mike Flanagan's Carrie series will be more relevant than ever, according to Matthew Lillard. Will he top Brian De Palma's classic version of the story? Who's to say? Here's the thing about Carrie. It's always been relevant. I mean, if you've ever been bullied, if you've ever felt outcast and you've read Carrie or watched the movie Carrie, it's relevant. Like, there's nothing that needs to be updated. There's no, well, the only thing they could do is add the social media element of it, and like that's been done. That's been done. I don't know. I mean, I love Mike Flanagan. I really do. But I like more of his stuff that is not a remake. Like what's that first one he did with the kids? Well, that might have been a remake too, when I think about it. Yeah, The Fall of the House of Usher was a remake as well. I did not finish The Haunting of Bly Manor, but I did watch, what's the first one? The Haunting of Hill House that he did. That first one he did for Netflix was really, really good. And then I watched The Fall of the House of Usher twice. I watched that whole series twice. And there's only like 2 series on Netflix that I've watched twice. The Fall of the House of Usher and The Glory. Those were so good. And yes, that is the same. Yeah. Yes, it's the Matthew Lillard from Scream is, I believe, producing. But I just don't. Well, if anybody could do it, Mike can do it. But isn't he also doing The Exorcist? I feel like that's a lot on his plate. Well, let's see. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what they say. Eric also says House of Usher was good. The rest of his stuff is very decompressed, drown out. Yeah, that's why I didn't finish The Haunting of Bly Manor, because it was a little too slow for me. I might come back to it. I felt the same way about I forget about that. It's this island town. I forget the name of it all the time. It's an island town. It's kind of like From, but even slower. I like From a lot, but this one is like From if you slowed the pace down like exponentially. But I never remember the name of it. And it's on Netflix. Midnight Mass. Thank you. See, Mike got it right away. Eric got it right away. Midnight Mass. Yeah, I didn't finish Midnight Mass because like there would be scenes where it'd be 2 people walking and talking for like 12 minutes, and it's like this is not really adding much to the story. But maybe I quit too soon. Chaz says Hush is also by Mike Flanagan. Yeah. I forgot about Hush. I reviewed Hush. Okay, let's get to this story here. Now that horror auteur Mike Flanagan has his next Stephen King project lined up, we're all chomping at the bit to see how it's going to turn out. This time he's adapting the King classic Carrie as a series, starring Summer H. Howell as the bullied girl whose rage eventually unleashed a fury of hell on her classmates, and now is a new interview with comic book star Matthew Lillard is teasing how Flanagan is updating the series for a modern audience. The only way I can see them updating it is actually going back to the original, in that I don't know who Summer H. Howell is. I'm not familiar with her as an actress. But in the book, Carrie was chubby. And no, she's never been portrayed as chubby on the big screen yet. Or having acne or having the curly hair. Like, none of the actresses that have played Carrie have looked like as she's described in the book. So I don't know what Summer H. Howell looks like. Maybe they'll have a picture of her in this article. But that's the only way I could see them, improving upon it. Eric Shaw said it was also Salem's Lot 2.0. Yes. Midnight Mass is Salem's Lot 2.0, but Salem's Lot is way more interesting to me. Okay, now where was I? Here we go. The exciting thing for me here is that he crafted an idea based around what we're experiencing right now in the world, the Scream star says, and shared that with Stephen King, and then Stephen King was like, "Oh, that's a great idea." So it's Stephen King's first published book. It has gone through all these iterations. I think the exciting thing here is that Mike has found a way to make it relevant right now, and I think that it speaks to what we're all experiencing, and so I think that that's going to make a difference. Mind you, I don't want it to be lost on anyone. Even though this book was written by Stephen King, who is a dude, he was able to capture the feelings of a teenage girl so well, which I will never understand how he's able to do that. But now as I'm quoting Matthew Lillard, this is like a 50-year-old man discussing with a 75-year-old man what's relevant to teenagers. I mean, they could be right. They could be completely right, but I feel like somebody younger should be in the room with them. Talk to the young people. Ask them what they're going through. Listen. I'd argue that Carrie has always been relevant, which is what I said before starting reading this, even in its original form. If you've ever experienced the horror of being a teenage girl, but it's not just about being a teenage girl. Carrie's about being a teenage girl who's bullied. Every teenage girl does not go through the experience that Carrie goes through. There's different experiences. She is specifically a bullied person who is ostracized, and also add to that comes from a background of her mother being a religious zealot. That happens. There are people whose parents put them at a disadvantage when it comes to socialization due to their own issues. If you are a child of a person that might be an alcoholic, if you're a child of a person that suffers from extreme anxiety, what if your mother's agoraphobic? Like there's all these different things that could happen that can make a person feel very isolated from the world or very ostracized from their peers. It's not just about just being a teenage girl. It's about being a teenage girl that's ostracized and isolated and bullied. Those are the key ingredients. Where did I leave off? I'd argue that Carrie has always been relevant, even in its original form. If you've ever experienced the horror of being a teenage girl, but given Flanagan's talent in adding nuance to his stories, there's already nuance. There's already nuance if you read the book. Whether it's adaptations like Haunting of Hill House or original works like Midnight Mass. Is Midnight Mass original? Because we just talked about how it's Salem's Lot 2.0, but I'll give you that. He's certainly got something up his sleeve to give the story a fresh coat of paint or blood for a new generation. Originally published in 1974, Carrie was King's first novel, which was made into a film just 2 years later. Directed by Brian De Palma and starring Scream Queen Sissy Spacek, the adaptation was an instant hit, even if it changed some aspects of the novel, including Carrie's weight. What I say? And is largely considered the best adaptation of the novel to date. A sequel, The Rage Carrie 2, was released in 1999 to dismal reviews and even worse box office numbers. That was at the movies? Oh, wow. I saw it on television on a sci-fi channel a few years later, or it might have been USA or Spike TV. One of those cable channels played The Rage Carrie 2. That's how I saw it. And even worse box office numbers. And a new version of the novel was also made in 2013, starring Chloe Grace Moritz as Carrie. I forgot about that one. I saw that one. Too much CGI. Not good. Mike Flanagan's Carrie series has yet to set a release date. Originality isn't what it once was. Yep. Tom Baker says, well, I loved Piper Laurie, who played the mother, just as much. Yes, she did an awesome job. And even Sissy Spacek, even though she didn't look like Carrie, I thought her performance really exceeded expectations because if you would look at her just as an actress outside of the character, she looks like a very beautiful girl, very, what Hollywood consider classically beautiful. But she was able to play Carrie in a way that you could still see the outsiderness. Like she almost played her as if I hate to say this because I don't want to offend, even though I am neurodivergent myself. I would say she played Carrie as if she was a neurodivergent person trying to navigate in a neurotypical world. That's the way Sissy Spacek played Carrie. And I love her portrayal of Carrie. I think she did a great job. Great performance. And Eric Shosas says Piper Laurie is fantastic in the original. Yes, she is. Like the acting, well, most Brian De Palma movies. Oh my God. Aside for Carrie, there's another one. It came out a couple years after Carrie. What was the name of that movie? It was similar in that it was two people. Brian De Palma movie with two teenagers with kinetic powers. What was the name of that movie? The Fury. That one was really good, from 1978. You guys get a chance to see The Fury. That one is so good. It doesn't get as much credit as Carrie because obviously doesn't have Stephen King's name behind it. But yeah. Thank you. See, Chaz got it. The Fury. Let me turn my notifications down so it doesn't chime anymore, because anytime I get like I have my stuff set to notify me from whether it's IMDb notifies me of movies on my watch list that have become available. I also have Netflix notifications. I don't have Shudder notifications. I have Tubi notifications. You know, you know you're a real one when you have the Tubi notifications on. I have my Tubi notifications on. I need to know when new movies drop on Tubi. All right, next item of business as far as TV is concerned. This comes to us courtesy of Fangoria, and written by Amber T. Title reads, Alien Earth crash lands onto Hulu this August. Noah Hawley's upcoming FX series stars Sydney Chandler and Timothy Olyphant. Again, not sure how they're going to adapt this for television. Seems like it would be really expensive to have an alien TV series. Especially, well, Hulu is now owned by Disney, so they got Disney money. So maybe they could do it. Okay, Noah Hawley's upcoming Alien Earth has set a release date with the FX series debuting on Hulu in August. Per Deadline, well, I could have just read the Deadline Hollywood article. Fangoria, you just go and rewrite what Deadline Hollywood say. Okay, I'm gonna let you live. Per Deadline, the 8-episode season will premiere with 2 episodes on Tuesday, August 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Hulu, and the FX linear channel at 8 p.m. Eastern in the US, and via Disney Plus internationally. New episodes will drop on Tuesdays on Hulu beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Yeah, it's 8 p.m. Eastern. Oh, and on FX at 8 p.m. I was about to say, why is it repeating? Okay. Today also brings a new look at the stars Timothy Olyphant playing synthetic humanoid named Kirsch, Sydney Chandler as Wendy, a hybrid, a metahuman who has the brain and consciousness of a child but the body of an adult. Wait, what? A hybrid, let's read that again. A hybrid metahuman who has the brain and consciousness of a child but the body of an adult. How and why would you create such an individual? I mean, we have individuals like that in real life. They're called people with arrested development. But why would you medically or scientifically create a hybrid metahuman who has the brain and consciousness of a child? Is this going to be, especially a female character, is this going to be another one of those born sexy yesterday things? Google it if you don't know what the born sexy yesterday trope is. I'll have to wait to see, but that just sounds odd to me. Essie Davis, The Babadook, and Alex Lothar, Black Mirror, among others. A new logline for Alien Earth, which is set 2 years before Ridley Scott's 1979 sci-fi horror classic Alien. Oh, no. Not a prequel. How's it going to be on Earth if it's a prequel? It doesn't even know about humans yet. It just encountered the humans. Like, well, it does know about the engineers. And maybe track the path of the engineers to Earth, because in, what was it? Prometheus? It showed the engineers being on Earth. Okay, you're making me create lore that isn't there, and that is troublesome to me. Don't make me create lore that isn't there. You're supposed to connect. You're getting paid to write this stuff. You're supposed to connect the dots. But it shouldn't be a prequel. It should be a sequel. It actually should have been a sequel that we were supposed to get for Alien 3. Do you guys know that the script for Alien 3 was supposed to be aliens on Earth, and instead it got turned into the aliens on the prison planet? That even a trailer, the original trailer for Alien. Oh, I wonder if I could find it. You guys give me a second. Let me see if I can find the original trailer for Alien 3 when they were supposed to come to Earth, so I can prove that it's not a fever dream. Sorry, my computer is slow as. Original teaser. I think that's it. Okay, I got to stop the screen and bring it back in to make sure that the audio is cool. Okay, I swear I'm clicking on this. Come on, computer. Come on, you could do it. His computer doesn't want me to be great. Let me read the comments while that. Oh no. This was the original teaser that I remember seeing a long time ago.
In 1979, we discovered in space, no one can hear you scream. In 1992, we will discover on Earth, everyone can hear you scream.
Did you hear that? They said on Earth. You got the audio was good, right? Somebody do an audio check for me, and somebody let me know if you guys could hear the audio. I'll replay it if you guys didn't hear the audio. Let's see here. Eric says FX spent plenty of money on Shogun. This might have an actual. Yeah, that's true. Shogun did have a huge budget. When you think about having to do it, was it the feudal era in China? I'm not China, Japan. Oh my God, that was terrible. I don't even know why I said that. I want to say it's a feudal era in Japan, but it could have been the Edo era. I get those two confused. To recreate that is it's very expensive. Tom Baker says Alien is totally milked. Yes. They're bleeding these franchises like vampires, yo. That's what Chaz says. I agree. Tom Baker says Predator needs a good sequel, but all is done with Alien. There is another Predator coming out. Oh, it just jumped up. Let me see. Tony says, give it a chance. It's beaming to space and back down to you. It's a miracle, like Bill Burr stated. Yes. Tom Baker says, my parents and grandparents saw it in 1979. Yes, audio was great. Thank you. They will never capture that magic again with Alien at all. They just can't. I wish they would leave it alone and just do different things. Just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Do something different. But yes, just to reiterate my point, it said on Earth.
We will discover on Earth, everyone can hear you scream.
That was the Alien 3 that we were supposed to get. And then there was a whole lot of producer interference, and they had to redo sets. They had to do a lot of reshoots. It was a whole mess. It was a whole mess. And but on the bright side, we did get. I mean, I don't dislike Alien 3. I like it a lot. I'm just saying this wasn't the intended story. All right, so we talked about Carrie. Is there more to this alien? Yeah, there's a little bit more. Oh, gotta pull the screen back up because there's a little bit more. Okay. Eric says, I don't know. I'm not giving up hope that disco makes a comeback. It actually has. That's funny you should say that, Eric. There have been different artists making new neo disco songs, and I'm enjoying them because I like disco music. I feel like I was born in the wrong era because I definitely would have. Do you look at my hair? Look at this. You see this flip? I would have been the queen of the disco. Oh, by the way, I might have a different look next week. I think the hair is going to be changed next week for the summertime. Something for the summertime. Or I should say for the spring. It's not quite summer yet. Tom Baker says, my dad told us the audience went apeshit at the Brussels cinema. I can imagine. I didn't see Alien in the theater. Wait, did I? I might have. No, I didn't see it. I saw The Thing at the drive-in. And I was probably, I don't know whether I was 4 or 5 years old when I saw it in the drive-in. I just know I was in footy pajamas and I fell asleep and I woke up and there was only 2 guys left sitting there drinking liquor. That was my initial memory of The Thing. And then when I got older, I saw it on VHS because my parents had the VHS of The Thing. But I don't think I saw Alien. I definitely saw Aliens in the theater. I saw Aliens, but I didn't get to see Alien. Eric says, okay, but not like it was in 77 to 79. I could see that. All I listen to is old school 70s, 80s, and 90s music. Yeah. That music has a frequency that is more uplifting, which is interesting. I don't want to get into conspiracies, but the US government has banned certain frequencies in music. And now suddenly when you listen to new music, it doesn't make you feel good anymore. I just wonder. You have a petri dish and a paper clip. You're right, I do. For almost everything I talk about today, I have the now where did I put it? No, it's not there. That's from Reanimator. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Let me go full screen. Forgot that I had this. It says McReady on it. And it's got the little tester. It's pretty cool. It's like a little petri dish. I forgot that I had that. It's got dust on it. I need to dust off my artifacts. Should adjust the camera so you can see where I'm putting it. It goes right up here next to Ed 209. God, we had the best movies back in the day. I feel bad for these kids. Well, not really, because these kids could still watch these movies. They're there. All right, let me get back into this. There's a new logline for Alien Earth, which is set 2 years before the Ridley Scott's 1979. Let me put this back up. 1979 sci-fi horror classic Alien reads as follows. When the mysterious deep space research vessel USCSS Maginot, I guess, crash lands on Earth, Wendy, Sidney Chandler, and a ragtag group of tactical soldiers make a fateful discovery that puts them face to face with the planet's greatest threat in FX's Alien Earth. In the year 2120, okay, so then how can this be a prequel if it happened? I'm so confused. In the year 2120, the Earth is governed by 5 corporations. Prodigy. Oh, that's right. Because Alien takes place in 21. I don't know the exact year. I don't know how I forgot that. Okay. In the year 2120, the Earth is governed by 5 corporations: Prodigy, Weyland-Yutani, Lynch Dynamic, and Threshold. In this corporate era, cyborgs, humans with both biological and artificial parts, and synthetics, humanoid robots with artificial intelligence, exist alongside humans. But the game is changed when the Wunderkind, or is it Wunderkind? It's a German word. I think it's pronounced Wunderkind. Founder and CEO of Prodigy Corporation unlocks a new technological advancement: hybrids, humanoid robots infused with human consciousness. Okay, so what's the difference between a humanoid robot and an android? Or synthetic, as they're called. Humanoid robots infused with human consciousness. So maybe the synthetics operate more like a robot that's programmed to do certain protocols, whereas a hybrid has AI. That's what I'm thinking, that mimics human consciousness. Or are they saying they're taking a specific person's consciousness and putting it into a hybrid? We'll have to see. The first hybrid prototype, named Wendy, marks a new dawn in the race for immortality. After Weyland-Yutani's spaceship collides with Prodigy City, Wendy and the other hybrids encounter mysterious life forms, more terrifying than anyone could ever imagine. Okay. Let me pop over here. Tom Baker says, I love the Pointer Sisters. I do too. I really like this song they have called Automatic, where I don't know the different sisters' names, but one of them has this really deep, rich voice. And on Automatic, her voice is just so good. And I also love their cameo in Car Wash. If you remember the movie Car Wash, that used to be my brother's favorite movie growing up. Before Star Wars and Tron was in Top Gun. Oh my God, he used to watch the VHS. We had a Top Gun. I'm surprised the thing never broke. He watched Top Gun so much. Okay, we can work it out. You know we can. Tom Baker says Lost in Music. Tony Man says, wait, Ed 209? Okay, I gotta go full screen again. I didn't show you? I finished putting them together. I had an afternoon where I felt like building, so I put together the Ed 209. I do need to glue him because this is almost like a Lego model, but there's certain parts that keep coming loose and I don't intend to rebuild him, so I'm just going to glue those parts on because he's going to stay like this. But it was fun. It took maybe, I think, an hour and a half. But that's because I'm super out of practice. Yeah, he's up there. But it was fun. It was fun to build. Tom Baker says, produced by Nile Rodgers. Saw him live twice. Yeah, Nile Rodgers is amazing. He also worked with Daft Punk not too many years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years. No, probably more like 8 years ago. 70s, 80s, and 90s was the golden days for movies too. Yeah. Tony says, remember DC Cab? The only thing I remember from DC Cab is I feel like there was a character that kept calling another character white bread. And when I was a child, I didn't know what that meant. I remember thinking, why does he keep calling him bread? Because I didn't understand the colloquialism of it. I have to rewatch that as an adult. You got to believe in something. Why not believe in me? Chaz says. Tony says, LOL, that was mine. Same with the Gundam. Yes. Mm-hmm. Tom Baker says, my dad's 74 and builds Lego ships. They're fun to do. You gotta, with pieces as small as that, that's not really for little kids. Although technically they should be able to put it together easier because their hands are smaller. But the attention span may or may not be there. Tony says that might have been Mr. T. Yeah, I just remember, I do remember Mr. T being it. I have to rewatch as an adult because I don't remember that much about it. But let me finish this one off so I can move on to the next thing. Also starring in a sci-fi horror series are Babao Cisse and Jonathan Ajayi and Irana James. Lily Newmark. Well, let me read both their names and also what they starred in. Babao Cisse from Gorilla. Jonathan Ajayi from Wonder Woman 1984, Arana James from Uproar, Lily Newark from Sex Education, DM Camille from Washington Black, Adrian Edmondson, The Young Ones, David Rysdahl from Fargo, Samuel Blinken from Black Mirror, Adarsh Gaurav, The White Tiger, Sandra Yee, Sinsidiver, I hope that's close. I apologize, Sandra. From Foundation, and Mobar L, The Peripheral. Looks like the cast is going to be as diverse as it's always been, because that's one thing about Alien. It's always been a diverse series, so that's cool. I remember Yaphet Kotto in the original Alien. And starring over the monster side of things, the Xenomorphs are this time joined by 5 new monsters. Oh, do we need this? Do we need 5 new monsters? Just say y'all don't want to do the Xenomorphs. The Xenomorphs can carry, they don't need help. They can carry a movie. They've carried several movies. We don't need extra monsters. Like 5. Okay. The Xenomorphs are this time joined by 5 new monsters, blessing us all with a ton of new nightmares. Well, you know what? I take that back. A minute ago, I did say do something different, but I meant like as in a different movie, like a new franchise. Check out some stills from Alien Earth Below via FX and mark your calendars for August 12th. So let's see this. Samuel Blinken as Boy Cavalier. with his feet out. I'm sure Quentin Tarantino will love that. Sydney Chandler as Wendy. I don't know why they think in the future we're going to have messed up haircuts. I feel like the hair has gotten a little bit better over the years. Alex Lawler as Hermit. It's so washed out. Why is it so washed out? Okay, got Jonathan Ajayi as Smee, Adarsh Gaurav as Slightly, Sydney Chandler as Winley, Timmy Oliphant is in the middle. Is that Timothy with the white hair? As Kirsch, okay. Kit as Young Toodles. Oh, Kit Young as Toodles, sorry. Irana James as Curly. Lily Newmark as Nibs. These names are terrible. Why are these names? These names are terrible. I'm sorry. And this looks washed out. It all looks the same color. I don't want to see that on my TV screen. I want a little bit of color. They think that in the future we're not going to have color. Well, thank God for this sister's hair. It's like the only thing giving color in this scene here. Alex Lawler's Hermit, DM Camille as Siberian, Mo Bar-El as Rashidi. Again, these names, Hermit, Siberian, Rashidi isn't too bad, but I just feel like y'all are playing Mad Libs with these names, and it's okay. And we have Sandra Yee Sensadiver as Yutani, probably from the Wailing Yutani Corporation. Yeah, we finally get to see someone from the Yutani side. Although Yutani sounds like a Japanese name, and Sandra Yee Sensadiver does not sound like a Japanese name. We're still doing that. We're still making any random Asian person play another random Asian person. Like, I know they do it in real life. Not in real life, in other senses, because the Irishman starred in Italian. So, I mean, I guess we're not caring, but I always think it's funny. Timothy Oliphant is Kirsch. He doesn't look like himself. Like, he doesn't look like Timothy Oliphant at all. But again, it's so drab looking. What are these lights in the background? We doing 1960s sci-fi again? In the 1960s, they used to make everything futuristic, have these just lights. So that's David Rysdale as Arthur and Essie Davis as Dame Sylvia. Adrian Edmondson as Adam Ains. Adam, like Atom, not Adam, the name. Like, I'm guessing he's probably a synthetic or something. All right, so that's what we have for Alien Earth. Maybe it'll be great. I just feel like I have such low expectations. Fomiki Latte says Niblet, aka Nibs. And Chaz says that's what the Pointer Sisters sung in Car Wash. Eric says, and Jerry Mathers as the Beaver. yeah, basically. Might as well add that. Never forget we had an Italian play a Cuban and a Puerto Rican, Scarface and Carlito's Way, Al Pacino. Yes. Too much Alien. Yeah, let me get out of here. Let me go on to the next thing. This is the last TV thing, and then we're going to go on to a little bit different subject. This comes to us from Bloody Disgusting, written by John Squires. The Trouble with Tessa, Screambox original series. Yay, something original. Premieres this summer, and there's a poster for it. And we have Bloody Disgusting is excited to announce the upcoming Screambox original series, The Trouble with Tessa, coming to Bloody Disgusting powered horror streaming service this summer. A 6-episode series, 22 minutes each, The Trouble with Tessa centers on disgraced documentarian Tessa Fowler, who unearths a box of old tapes, one seemingly capturing a murder, and sets out to unravel the dark secrets buried in this perfect town's past. Check out the official poster below and read on for everything you need to know. In the original horror series, after Tessa Fowler's skyrocketing career implodes overnight, the disgraced documentarian escapes to a small, idyllic mountain town called Lowry. It seems like the perfect place to hide. Lowry doesn't allow cell phones, doesn't have internet, and no one knows about Tessa's past. Tessa's determination to leave their investigation days behind them disappears. However, when they find a mysterious box of recordings in their rental home's dingy apartment, at first the recordings seem to be nothing more than security footage. However, when Tessa plays a tape that appears to catch a murder in progress, They can't help but start digging into the seemingly perfect town's disturbing past. I'm guessing that Tessa's character is non-gender binary and uses they, them. What's the word I'm looking for? Pronouns. My mind kept on saying adverbs. I'm like, that's not the right one. Pronouns. Yeah. That's cool. Katrin Nugent stars as Tessa Fowler, with the cast also including Casey Hartnett. I wonder if they're related to Josh Hartnett. Not sure. Maria Wolf, Alexander Platt. I know him from Lake Placid. Dennis Kahlo, John R. Smith Jr., Corey, Deanne Cowley, Tina Ann Brock, Cordell Ijoma, Tasso Microlis. I'm going to say Microlis. And the voice talents of Will Rogers. Wait, is that a new Will Rogers? Because the Will Rogers I know passed away. I guess it's a different Will Rogers. Christina Hutchinson, Dave Ryan, Nuvis Martin, aka Thunder Cunt of Amenorrhea. Wow. And Cheney Crab of Entheos. The Trouble with Tessa is directed by Dennis Kylo and Bethany Watson, photographed and edited by Dennis Kylo, and features additional photography from Phil Ortiz. The Screenbox original story series is written by Will Rogers, Dennis Kylo, and Bethany Watson, from a story by Will Rogers, Dennis Kylo, Bethany Watson, and Tony Walsh. Not Walsh. Wash. Executive producers include Eric Opeka, Yolanda Macias, Brandon Hill, Brad Mishka, Tom Owen, and Tony Wash. The Trouble with Tessa was inspired by Kahlo and Watson's movie Move. I can't read today, I'm sorry. The Trouble with Tessa is inspired by Kahlo and Watson's move to New York's Hudson Valley. With its pockets of no phone connectivity, mysterious stone chambers, and occasional random sirens, the series draws inspiration from two of Kahlo's favorite movies, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. See, now you have my attention. Okay, now I'm invested. I like that. I am a big fan of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It took years to grow on me. When it first came out when I was a kid, I was like, what is this? There's no Michael Myers. But as an adult, looking back on it, as a standalone movie, if it was just called Season of the Witch, it's a really good movie. I also enjoy Invasion of Body Snatchers. How these two things are going to collide, I'm interested in seeing. See, now you got me interested. I don't have Screenbox though. I paid for Shudder already for the year. Okay, let's see here. It's like the true crime series See No Evil. Oh, I should check that out. I like true crime. I didn't know that it was a See No Evil true crime series. Let me write that down. See No Evil true crime. Thank you, Tom. Eric says Lake Placid is an underrated gem. Some great bits in that one. Yes, I especially like the parts with what's her name from the Golden Girls? She played Rosen Island. Her name is escaping me right now. Betty White. I liked her in that. Did I hear Halloween 3? Yes, you did, Eric. See, your ears perked up as soon as mine did. I was like, oh, okay, I'm with this. There's the poster, Screenbox original. The Trouble with Tessa. It says you'll get fed. All right, I like that. I might look into Screenbox. I might look into it for the first time ever because I like this concept. Okay, we're going to take a really quick break and we'll get into another segment. Just give me a moment to get everything lined up. right, let's get into some upcoming horror movie talk. Done with the little TV second. Oh, it didn't share. Okay. Give me just a second here. I thought I had it pulled up, but okay, why is it not happening? Let me try. Third time's a charm. Okay, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. We're going to hop over to Variety. This is written by Elise Schaefer. And the title reads, Charli XCX to star in and produce audition director Takashi Miike's next film. What I'm going to do is, because my computer's acting so slow, I'm going to leave, keeps popping back and forth. I'm going to leave that on the screen and read from my phone instead, since it's acting janky like that. We'll pull it up on here. Oh, I know rain is possible. All right. That's how we'll do this. Technology to the rescue. Okay, yeah. Get ready for Takashi Miike. It's the website. It's not my computer, because I just pulled up on my phone and it's doing the same jumpy thing on my phone. Variety, get your S together, because your site is jumpy. How are people supposed to read your site if it keeps jumping back and forth? It needs to sit still for my eyes to see. Chaz says, I never had a problem with Halloween 3. Even more as an adult, it's one of my favorites. Yes, I think the older we get, the more appreciation we have for Halloween 3. Eric says, Miike, with a thinking interested emoji face. Eric also said, could be interesting. Yes. Usually when Takashi Miike does something, it is interesting. I probably have something to show you from Takashi Miike behind me too. Wait, before I get started, let me look. I bet you I have something behind me. I do. I have a VCD of Ichi the Killer. I knew I had something Takashi Miike behind me. Good flick. This is such a good flick. There. Okay, now let's get back into it. All right, says, get ready for Takashi Miike summer. Charli XCX is set to star in and produce the next film from the prolific Japanese horror director, Variety understands. The film marks the second project the multi-hyphenate, whose sixth studio album, Brat, continues to be a phenomenon, is producing through her new Studio 365 banner, joining upcoming A24 movie The Moment. Though the plot details are being kept under wraps, Miike is known for his depictions of extreme violence, as seen in his 1999 cult classic Audition. Oh, I have that one too. Yeah, over here. Because my things are in alphabetical order. I do have Audition. That's a classic. Let's see here. And 2001's Ichi the Killer. Ross Evans, whose script, How to Save a Marriage, is being developed for Sony with Robert Pattinson attached to produce, is penning the screenplay. Wait, is Robert Pattinson penning the screenplay? No, Ross Evans is penning the screenplay. Robert Pattinson is attached to produce. The way that sentence is written, why did you write it that way? Why not just write Ross Evans is developed, whose script, How to Save a Marriage, is developed for Sony and is writing the screenplay, and then write Robert Pattinson is attached to produce. That's the way you should write that. Otherwise, it doesn't come across as clear. Yumuki Ayago is co-writing. since launching Brat in June of last year, which earned the pop star 3 Grammys and which is widely regarded as the best album of 2024. Charli has I have not heard this album. This is how I know I'm old. I've I've not heard anything about this album. I'm out of the loop. I might need to give it a listen. Charli has turned her attention towards acting and producing. You know why a lot of people doing that? Quiet is kept. There's no money in music anymore. The way the contracts are written and the way the streaming format is set up, these artists are not getting paid very well, so they have to diversify. I digress. Let me see here. Charli has turned her attention toward acting and producing, lining up an impressive array of projects. In addition to The Moment, which she'll star in for director Aiden Zamiri, Charli will feature in Julia Jackman's period fantasy 100 Nights of Hero alongside Nicholas Galitzine and Emma Corrin. Pete O's and Jeremy O'Hara's Eruptia. Daniel Goldhaber's horror remake Faces of Death. That's what's wild. When I was a kid, I really believed Faces of Death was real. I really believed that. Oh my goodness. Do you know that the director of Faces of Death used to have a YouTube channel? Him and his wife had a YouTube channel called Two Jews on Film. I haven't seen them in a long, long time. I hope they're still producing videos, but I have to look them up. They were called Two Jews on Film, and they would rate movies by like how many bagels a movie would get, and sometimes it would be like 5 bagels with lox and cream cheese and all that. I loved their reviews, but that guy was the original director of Faces of Death. Apparently they're doing a remake. Do they need to do a remake of Faces of Death? You could just go on Twitter and see real, like I saw a person get their hand cut off with a machete on Twitter, and it was real. And that's why I don't really go on Twitter that much anymore. I just don't. It's, life's too short for that type of negativity. I mean, in real life. In a movie form, I could watch people get chopped up all day. I could watch beheadings or decapitations, eviscerations, all that. As long as it's practical effects, because that's art. That's art. But real life, I don't want to see real life. I don't want anybody to get hurt in real life. Where was I? Okay, Daniel Goldhaber's horror remake Faces of Death, Greg Araki's I Want Your Sex alongside Olivia Wilde and Cooper Hoffman, Roman Gavar's adventure comedy Sacrifice, and The Gallerist, a thriller directed by Kathy. This sentence makes no sense. You're just listing things and it don't make any sense together. You could just say these are the people involved and put in parentheses their collective works. Because it's not in parentheses, the sentence. I'm very sorry, Elise Schaefer, but why are you writing like this? This is not friendly to the reader. But going back to Olivia Wilde, isn't that the lady that made the Don't Worry, Darling? But then she was cheating on her husband during the making of a movie with some other actor, or was she cheating with a singer? I just know that she got served divorce papers during a press junket or something like that. It was real messy. Let me get caught up on some of these comments. Eric says, could be interesting. Also, feel good film. Chaz says, Ichi the Killer. Whoa. Tom Baker says, Halloween 3 is film fantastique. Like more like the Twilight Zone. Audiences didn't get it at the time. Yeah, I agree. Eric says it's top 40 radio pop for teenage girls. Paul Mickey Lighty says she makes hyper pop. Tom Baker, says every kid wants music for free. It's a different time now. Albums, that power is gone. Yeah. I remember walking to the record store to go get, actually during my time, it wasn't albums. It was more cassette tapes and then CDs. But I remember walking to there was a record store called Strawberries in East Hartford, Connecticut. We walked about a mile to the store to buy Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit in 1992, I believe it was. Yeah. I remember walking to get that cassette and listening to that. My sister told me that one of her friends in school dubbed, for those that are younger, dubbing is when you take a cassette tape and you make a copy of it. One of her friends from school made her a copy of a Pearl Jam tape. No, the 90s was a different place. You guys had to be there. Tony says, I saw someone actually beheaded. Not pleasant. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't see that. I don't want to see any real murder. Well, unfortunately, we did see that with the different incidents with police brutality. Like that's what made me really try to protect what I watch online, because I remember when what happened when Eric Garner happened, and I remember telling Tully, man, we just saw someone die, like on video, like in real life. But back to lighter topics. Eric says yes with Harry Styles. Yeah, that's who. Yeah, Olivia Wilde cheated with Harry Styles while making "Don't Worry, Darling" and got served divorce papers on stage. Shout out to her husband. I like that you did that on stage when she was promoting the movie. Wow. Tony Man says this article needed to be 1,000 words or more, just like when writing. Yeah, they probably get paid per word. I remember I used to freelance write for Microsoft Office 365. Super boring, super boring, and you had to stretch whatever you were writing to a certain word count. Usually, it was at the minimum was like 800. So then you find yourself creating sentences like the one I just tried to read, because you're trying to reach that word limit when you don't really need to say all that to say what you're trying to say. Tom Baker says, I love Van Halen. I remember there's different Van Halens. When I was a kid, I grew up with the David Lee Roth Van Halen. By the time I was in college, I think it was Sammy Hagar was fronting Van Halen. So I remember more of the David Lee Roth jump, the kick splits in the air, and all his wildness. Tom Baker says 1992 was fantastic. Tony Man 100 says Tom ain't talking about love is my favorite Van Halen song. Tom Baker says Real Wide Magic Van Halen, and also Wise and autocorrect mess with me. Yeah, autocorrect will mess with you. Let me see if there's anything worth noting besides this person just naming stuff. Okay, I'm gonna give you one more paragraph. Miike has directed over 100 films since 1991, spanning a variety of different genres, including horror, action, and drama. Alongside Audition and Ichi the Killer, he is best known for the 1999 Yakuza action film Dead or Alive, 2001's erotic black comedy Visitor Q, which, by the way, I reviewed Visitor Q on my channel. What movie did I feel like I paired it with something. I paired it with the Ebola Syndrome. I have a double feature review of the Ebola Syndrome and Visitor Q. Check that out. Where was I? And the 2003 horror classic One Missed Call, his 2010 samurai remake 13 Assassins, and the 2011 drama Harakiri. His latest film, Sham, is set to premiere at Tribeca Film Festival. And that's the end of that. I look forward to anything Miike, and it sounds like Charli XCX is just if she's executive producing, that means she's giving him money. It just means she's giving him money, and he's probably going to give her a part in the movie, but it's definitely a Miike movie. Toyman says ducking autocorrect. Tom Baker says Primal Scream Motley Crue song totally amazing. Eric Shosted says Dead or Alive is wild. I have not seen Dead or Alive. At least I don't remember seeing Dead or Alive. But I did see One Missed Call. I might have that also as a VCD. That clip with that panther. Okay, so it looks like I need to see Dead or Alive. You should have. Yeah, I was about to say, I think I have One Missed Call. Let me see. I have Tommy. What's this one? Yep, I have One Missed Call. Let's go to full screen again. Yep, right there's One Missed Call. And what I should do is open these up, because I mentioned that they're VCDs, and someone might not know what a VCD is, because I know they might not produce these anymore. This is from 2003, so over 20 years ago. They used to have these. They look like the packaging. It comes with a slip cover. I'll show you the slip cover. And then it has this inside, and it's the size of a CD case, but inside it has the movie. But when you open it, trying to do this without busting anything, because like I said, this is 20 years old. It fell out. I got to put this back in. Okay, so the difference between a VCD and a DVD is a VCD has a smaller file format. So it splits the movie into two sections. There's the first half of the movie and the second half of the movie. So back in the day, before we had like streaming services, if you were near a city, and in our case, we lived in Connecticut, we would take the train down into New York, and you would go to Chinatown, and they would have little shops that sell movies from anywhere in Asia, anywhere from Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, and of course South Korea and Japan, and they would sell them on VCDs instead of DVDs. I don't know if that was just the normal file format for those countries at that time, or whether it was just something that was able to be played in a region 1 DVD player. Because for some reason, instead of there being a universal DVD format, there's region 1 and region 2. I don't know if that's even still a thing, because I have a Blu-ray player, so I don't even know whether that's a thing anymore. But back in the day of 2003 is 22 years ago. I'm talking about, this is 22. What I have in my hand is 22 years old. That's amazing when you think about it. That's wild. But yeah, back in the day, this is what we had to do to have access to these foreign films. You had to get on a train, in our case, get on a train, go into the city, walk we used to walk because it's just cheaper. Like you could take a bus or cab, or you could take another subway to Chinatown, but you could also walk it. You could hoof it from Grand Central Station. And we used to just hoof it because by saving those extra $4 or $5, you get a dirty water dog or a slice of pizza instead. And so that's what we used to do back in the day to get these. Now you guys can just go online and find any movies from around the world. Anywhere around the world, you can find movies. Okay, I'll put it back later because it doesn't want to go back in its place. But anyways, that's, man, I feel like an old lady back in my day. But it was fun, and you felt excited. Okay. Somebody says you should have part 2 as well. I don't know if I have part 2. I have One Missed Call. I have Ju-on. No, I have part 2 of Ju-on. I have Ju-on and Ju-on 2. I have Face. I have the I part 2. I don't have One Missed Call part 2. Tom says, Tony, do you have a music channel? And he says, no, not yet. And Tom Baker says, do it. Oh, hey, that's a sign. I think that's a good sign. Eric Shosha says, regions are still a thing. Okay, so they are still a thing. All right, let's get into, we got 2 more. Let me see, what time is it? Okay, because I want to try to finish up probably around 8. So let me go to my next one. Let me open it on my phone because I'll read it from there and keep this on the screen. All right, this is courtesy of Fangoria, written by Amber T again. And the title reads Kid, I don't know, it's Kid Cudi? I think it's Kid Cudi. I keep hearing people say Kid Cudi, but I think it's Kid Cudi. To direct and star in horror romance, When the Light Dies. The rapper and actor recently starred in X and Trap. I loved him in Trap. That was like the funniest moment in the movie was when he showed up in Trap. Tom Baker says, I'm getting dizzy thinking about time. Tony says, LOL, so old. That's sarcastic. Yes, it's there somewhere. You can order Shaw Brothers films in 4K from Asia, but you'd need a region-free Blu-ray player. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for letting me know about that. And Tom Baker says, I remember sitting at a table with a family New Year's Eve, 1999, 2000, saying, can you believe it's the year 2000? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We were so excited about the year 2000. So excited. We were promised so much in the 80s. We were promised so much in the 80s and what we were going to have by the 2000s. Apparently they have that stuff in China. We just don't have it here. Okay, let me get into this. It says the rapper and actor, I should say not just China, Japan, and Korea. They're living in 2025. We're still living in 1989. We just didn't know it. Rapper and actor Scott Mescudi. Oh, so that's how he gets the name Kid Cudi, because his last name is Mescudi. K-U-C. Let me scroll down so you guys can see the spelling of his name. It's M-E-S. Oh, I didn't. put that back on screen. It's MESCUDI, aka Kid Cudi. Okay. Let me move this back up. Okay, so rapper and actor Scott Mescudi, aka Kid Cudi, is set to direct. Oh, he's directing already? Wow. And star in his first feature, a horror romance titled When the Light Dies. Wait. Is this the same Kid Cudi is supposed to... I'm sorry, I keep going on side quests, but I think he's supposed to testify tomorrow at the Diddy trial. He was supposed to testify today, but they didn't get to him in time because I think the defense was trying to string out the time talking to the expert psychologist. So he was supposed to testify today, but he's testifying tomorrow. That story, I know I'm not... This has nothing... Well, it is horrific, so I'm going to say it does have something to do with horror. Apparently, after Cassie had broke up with Diddy, she started going out with Kid Cudi, and Diddy blew up his car. So, I mean, like movie mafia type blew up his car. And so he's going to testify tomorrow probably about his car getting blown up. Wild stuff. Tony says Y2K hype was real though. Fominky Life says he's the same one. Thank you. I'm glad I wasn't tripping on that. Okay, so confirming the news on his Twitter X account over the weekend, Cudi added that he's been wanting to direct movies ever since he was a kid. And I'm finally stepping into this new chapter, and that I'm going to make a page on IG that's dedicated to bringing you in on a journey. I've been doing test shoots, trying different lighting techniques, and trying different lenses, and I want to give you guys access to my mind. Who's joining the journey? That's good marketing. I think that's a pretty good marketing approach to include. But the only thing is, he should do it on TikTok instead of Instagram. Cudi's most recent genre offering include a starring role alongside Mia Goth in Ty West's sexploitation slasher X, where he played porn star Jackson Hole. Sorry, Jack Hole sounds funnier, but it's Jackson Hole. Cudi also took on an executive producer role for the next two features in West's X trilogy, Pearl and Maxine. Oh, I didn't know he was an executive producer on those. This is good work. Again, notice the smarter artists are doing this. There isn't money in music anymore, so they're pivoting. Very smart move. Until I feel like there needs to be a what's the word I'm looking for? The music industry needs reform. That's all I'm going to say. The music industry needs reform. Okay, where was I? In 2024, he starred as the Thinker in M. Night Shyamalan's concert set thriller Trap, and is soon set for a role in the action horror comedy Hell No. That's the name of the movie? Hell No. I'm gonna add that to my watch list. I'm watching that just based on the title alone. Okay, it's soon set for a role in the action horror comedy Hell No from Keith and Kenny Lucas. Cudi and West also recently collaborated on the 11-minute video for the former's new single Neverland, which follows a 200-year-old vampire who takes his newly initiated love on her first feed. Neverland has assembled a murderer's row of horror talent behind and in front of the camera, with Jordan Peele producing, and Brittany Snow from X, Kiernan Shipka from Totally Killer and Longlegs, Haley Joel Osment from Tusk and the Sixth Sense, Carrie Eels from Saw, and he was also in The Crush. I like The Crush. And I like Saw. And Brandon Scott, The Descendant, or I think it's just called Descendant, also starring Neverland, will premiere at Tribeca Film Festival next month. Look out for more on When the Light Dies and Cudi's promising horror career as we get it. And then he tweeted, let me show you guys his tweet. A little sidebar for y'all. I'm directing and starring my first feature next year. I came up with a story called When the Light Dies, a horror romance film. I've been wanting to direct movies ever since I was a kid, and I'm finally stepping into this new chapter. Oh, it's the same thing I read earlier about how he's pretty much going to document his journey as a director on social media. I think it's a pretty cool idea. All right, and let's do our third in the works movie. Okay, I'll just accept it. Leave me alone, Hollywood Reporter. All these pop-ups. Okay, so this comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter, written by Aaron Couch. Every time I see Aaron, I think of that Matt. Is it Mad TV? No, it's Key and Peele. Key and Peele had a sketch where it was a substitute teacher, and he kept on calling the student AA Ron. AA Ron. Okay, so the title reads, Long Legs filmmaker Osgood Perkins launches Banner Inc.'s first look with neon. Okay, I'm not sure what all that means. The studio released a first look, I know what that means, as at his upcoming feature Keeper, while announcing the deal. So why not put that as a headline? Longlegs filmmaker Osgood Perkins launches first look at his upcoming feature Keeper. That's the headline. Also, Ink's deal with neon. That's a separate. You're combining two things into one thing, but that's okay. Oh, let me leave that up there and read from my phone. What was I doing? Okay, Osgood Perkins is staying in business with Neon, the indie outfit that released his feature Longlegs and the Monkey, and helped crown him as Hollywood's latest horror maestro. Perkins has signed a first deal. Oh, by the way, for those that don't know, Osgood Perkins is Anthony Perkins' son. Where was I? Perkins has signed a first look deal with Neon and launched a new banner called Phobos, which he will run with partner Chris Ferguson. You guys need an editor. You got typos. Okay. Under the deal, Neon will serve as the home for Perkins projects, which he and Ferguson will produce. It will also allow Perkins and Ferguson to produce other filmmakers' movies for Neon. Neon will release these projects theatrically in the United States and represent international rights. Perkins will continue to produce projects with Brian Kavanaugh Jones of Range. The move comes after the 2024 serial killer thriller Longlegs supercharged Perkins' career. It earned strong reviews and $128 million globally on a $10 million budget. See what I'm talking about? How horror makes money. Its $75 million domestic haul made it the top-grossing independent film of the year. Neon and Perkins followed it up with the Stephen King adaptation The Monkey, which opened to $14 million domestically, Neon's second highest opening of all time, only behind Longlegs. While less universally well-known than Longlegs, it still earned $68.7 million globally. Up next, Neon will release the Perkins-directed film Keeper in October, with the first teaser released Wednesday. There's only one Osgood Perkins. Fearless, deeply imaginative, relentlessly funny, and operating on a frequency that's all his own, said Neon CEO and founder Tom Quinn. Quote, his work lingers with you, burrows into your brain, as all great art does. With Neon as his creative home, Oz will continue to cook, pushing the boundaries of his ever-expanding cinematic universe. We're thrilled to be along for the ride with Phobos and Osgood Perkins. Added Perkins, or I should say Perkins added. Why do you write like this? I'm rewriting your article. Perkins added. Ever hear that one about the filmmaker who madly loves his distributor? No? That's because I think this might be the first time it's happened in our business, where even brief phone calls can be rough. Meanwhile, here I am with Neon. Like, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. I couldn't be happier. Perkins, the son of psycho actor Anthony, the way that sounds. It's my intonation, because you could read it, Perkins, the son of psycho actor Anthony Perkins. Sounds like the actor is psycho. But I should have read it, Perkins, the son of psycho actor Anthony Perkins. Like, no, that still makes it sound like I'm saying that the actor is psycho. There's no way to read this that it doesn't sound like that. And model and photographer Barry Berenson started his career as an actor playing a young version of his father's character Norman Bates in Psycho 2. He was in Psycho 2? I never noticed that. Wow, that's cool. Okay, he recently spoke with The Hollywood Reporter about how life has changed since his meteoric rise post Longlegs. People ask me if they can have coffee with me, and I say, I don't know. That's how things change. Someone else knows. I don't know the answer to that anymore, he said. The deal was negotiated by Neon with CAA, Untitled, and Lichner Grossman Repping Perkins. Is that the end of it? Yeah, that's the end of that. So, what do you guys think? What did you guys think of Longlegs? I didn't love it. I think it started out like the first 25 minutes of Longlegs was really good. Very, very atmospheric, very intense, very suspenseful. That's the word. It was suspenseful. It kept me on the edge of my seat. And then they brought in what's his name? My mind keeps going, how did it get burned? How did it get burned? Why can't I remember his name? Oh, somebody in the stream tell me this dude's name. He was in a vampire movie where he wasn't a vampire, but he thought he was a vampire. And then he was in Mandy. Well, he did a lot of stuff in between it. Raising Arizona. I'm naming all his movies and I cannot remember his name. Nicolas Cage. Then my mind was blanking on Nicolas Cage. The first 25 minutes of Longlegs was really, really good. Very creepy. And then they injected Nicolas Cage and I was like, it was just, it became laughable. I don't know if he was supposed to be scary, but he wasn't. He was hilarious. It just didn't work. Like, I feel like they were trying to do like a creepy Buffalo Bill type of thing. Like, you know how in Silence of the Lambs, Buffalo Bill was kind of creepy with that voice and everything? It felt like that's what they were trying to do. But I just kept staring at the prosthetic nose and chin that they gave Nicolas Cage and the wig. It's like the makeup. The makeup was more interesting than the character. It just didn't work for me. The movie went downhill from here. And also the scene with the doll was creepy. The way, like, I don't know who Osgood Perkins cinematographer is or director of photography, or if he does it himself, but those parts were really, really good about Longlegs, but then the movie just fell apart for me. And then with the monkey was more entertaining, but still not super rewatchable for me. It had some really good gore. Like my favorite scene is the girl with at the pool. But I think the problem with the monkey, I don't put this on Osgood. I put this more on the writing. I don't know if he did the screenplay for it. Certain Stephen King short stories don't work as full movies. They work more as maybe do an episode of it. Bring back horror anthology shows. I know they tried to bring back Tales from the Crypt. It didn't work, but bring back Tales from the Dark Side. Bring back any horror. Some stories can be told in 30 minutes or 22 minutes. And that's what the monkey was. It was a story that could have been told in 22 minutes better to me. I feel like it got stretched out to feature-length film. But yeah. So I don't think he's a bad director. I just think Longlegs kind of fell apart and the monkey just there wasn't enough screenplay there for me. All right, so what do we have left and how much time do we have left? Okay, we have 15 minutes. Okay, I got a couple more I can do. Let me do like this. I got a couple more like director news type stuff. Oh, they happen to say that the teaser came out today on Wednesday. Was supposed to premiere on Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. I should pull up the teaser for Keeper. Since Osgood Perkins did that, let's do that. Okay. Get this lined up. Okay, now. My computer's still acting really slow. Oh, you're right, Chaz. There has been 4 seasons of Creepshow. This is true. This is true. And Eric says, shout out to Edge of Insanity. Tom Baker says, I love the short stories of the Night Gallery. Yes, that's another one. Ah, that's a great idea, Tony Man. They should bring back Masters of Horror. That's perfect for this. Tom Baker says, Rod Serling. Tom Baker says they're on YouTube. I think I also have, do I have Night Gallery? I'll check towards the end of the show. 1969 and 1972. I read on Joe Blow that Perkins wants to make a Texas Chainsaw Massacre if Neon can get the rights. Enough already. The only person that should get to make a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is Rob Zombie, because he turns everything into Texas Chainsaw Massacre anyways. That's who should get Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And nothing else. Nothing else. Because he turns everything into Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Give Rob Zombie what he wants. A Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel. Oh, wait. I didn't read that. Old Anthony Perkins film from the 80s, Eric Shosett says. Okay, let me see if I can pull up that trailer for Keeper. Or teaser. I think it's a teaser. There it says. It says Keeper teaser Osgood Perkins. All right, let's see. It's 49 seconds. All right. Okay. Are you just scribbling with a pen? Is this mental illness? Is this a breakdown? Is this possession? I don't know what I'm looking at. And it just says a dark trip from Osgood Perkins. Okay, this is I don't know how to react to this. What? What the hell is that? A dark trip from Osgood Perkins. Oh my god. Osgood, this better be good. Like that I feel like you just wasted a minute of my life. Never again. I'm sorry. That I hope it turns out to be something better, but that I can't stop laughing. Why is that funny to me? I don't know why it's funny to me. Okay, Tom says I saw a great 1972 horror movie on YouTube, Frogs. Frogs is great. I really enjoy it. It makes a good double feature with Squirm. I would pair Squirm with Frogs, or also Slugs. Slugs is from the 80s, but Squirm is from the 70s. I would put those together. Squirm and Frogs. Squirm is it's like Frogs but with worms. Rob Zombie after Monsters. Eric says grating carrots. Tom Baker says some great 1970s movies for free on YouTube. Yes, I agree. Tom Baker says the 7-Ups incredible 1972 movie. Let me write that one down. The 7-Ups. Haven't heard of that one. The 7-Ups, 1972.
Someone was detected at your grandma's room.
Okay, let me present again because we have some more horror news to finish up. And let me take that down. Oh. Eric says 7-Up's incredible. I don't know why it keeps jumping to that window when I want it like this. Great car chase film.
Someone was detected at your grandma's room.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to using a computer again instead of my phone and see if it works out any better this time. Okay, no, it's Variety, and it's jumping around because of these ads. It's the ads that make it jump around. Variety, this is written by Brent Lang and Alex Rittman. Eli Roth directing Ice Cream Man. His most terrifying and... See how it jumps? Yeah, I guess I'm going back to my phone because look at this. I can't read if it's going to jump around like that. Okay. Eli Roth directing Ice Cream Man, his most terrifying and an insane film yet, with Media Capital Technologies and the horror section financing and producing. Media Capital Technologies, MCT, and the horror section will fully finance and produce Ice Cream Man, Eli Roth's new film. How many of you guys are familiar with the original Ice Cream Man with Clint Howard, I believe, starred in Ice Cream Man, if I'm not mistaken. It's from the 80s. I'm pretty sure it's the 80s and not the 90s, but I think it's late 80s. But the Ice Cream Man was a slasher movie, and I guess this is... I feel like if anyone could remake a good slasher movie, it would be Eli Roth, based on his Thanksgiving movie. So I'm definitely interested in that. Roth, a master of genre whose work includes the Hostel and Cabin Fever franchise, returns with the story of an idyllic... They love the word idyllic. Summertown, descending into madness when an ice cream man serves kids sweet delights with horrifying results. Beyond a sparse teaser, the plot details are being kept under wraps. There's a teaser? Well, I have to look that one up too. Roth wrote the script and will direct from an original idea he has had for over 20 years. He says the delay is because studios got antsy about financing it. The filmmaker launched the horror section earlier this year with the goal of making the kind of independent scary movies that made him famous. Roth also will also produce... Let me re-say that. Roth will also produce Ice Cream Man alongside MCT's Christopher Woodrow and Raj Singh and Cream's... Why did you write? And Cream's Kate Harrison. I'm so immature. Why would you write that? And Cream... Just write and Kate Harrison. You know what you two were doing. You two think that you're being slick. You're not slick. I saw what you did there. Executive producers include MCT's Connor DeGregorio and Eli Massillon. I'm going to say Massillon. And the horror section's John Schnars. WME Independent will represent the international rights to the film and introduce it to buyers in Cannes. The horror section has U.S. rights to the film and plans a wide theatrical release during the second quarter of 2026. Filming is set to begin this summer in Canada. Okay, so there can't be a teaser if they haven't started filming yet. Did I read that right? I could swore up thread it said something about besides a teaser. Yeah, it says beyond the sparse teaser, the plot details are... well, it wouldn't be the first time Eli did a trailer for a movie that didn't exist, because he did the trailer for Thanksgiving before he did the movie for Thanksgiving. So there's that. Okay, let me go back to where I left off. Okay. Yeah, right here. Eli says, I've had this idea for a long, long time, and studios were too afraid of my early drafts. Now's the time to push the envelope further than I ever have with what I think will be my most terrifying and insane film to date. Which makes sense. I think he probably is getting more leeway because of the not only popularity, but the success of Terrifier. I think because Terrifier is so successful, it gives Eli what he needs to push for what he really wants. I think that's could have helped him. He goes on to say, films like Ice Cream Man are what we created the horror section for, to make unrated, boundary-pushing theatrical events the horror fans can all scream about for years. I'm very lucky to have such fantastic partners like MCT and, of course, all the investors at the horror section. Quote, this is MCT principals, Christopher Woodrow speaking. He says, working with Eli is always a privilege, and this film feels fresh and exciting, as it is his first original project in the independent market in nearly a decade, says MCT principals Christopher Woodrow and Raj Singh. We believe Ice Cream Man will mark the start of the next great horror franchise with massive commercial potential. Ice Cream Man will be MCT's debut as a financier of independent film projects, an expansion from its role as Lionsgate's primary film slate co-financing partner. Recent films include Saw 10, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, and Flight Risk. So they have money, because there's a lot of money put into that Ungentlemanly Warfare. Upcoming titles include the John Wick spinoff Ballerina, The Long Walk, Good Fortune, and The Housemaid. I wonder if The Housemaid is a remake of that Korean movie, The Housemaid, because that was a really good movie. MCT is a specialty finance company focused on strategic investments, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, we got the money. MCT has money. They have a range of institutional investors, including Mass Mutual, support the company and its investment activities more. We have money. This is what it's all saying. We have money. In March 2025, Roth, in partnership with MCT, launched the horror section with a focus on building a robust library of intellectual property. The company will produce, acquire, and distribute a wide range of content, including independent theatrical films, television series, games, podcasts, and live events. Oh, you guys are getting into podcasts too? We can't have nothing. Okay, I lost my place. MCT provides strategic support across corporate finance, project finance, and day-to-day operational management. Roth's credits include The House with the Clock in Its Walls, Knock Knock, and Thanksgiving. The horror section recently announced its first major film acquisition with the Joe Begos-directed Jimmy and Stiggs, set for a wide theatrical release in August 2025. MCT is represented by CAA Eli Roth, represented by WME, which are the management companies. The two biggest management companies, it seems. Okay. All right, let's see what's going on in the comments. Tom Baker says Richard Lynch. That's the guy that I'm always talking about that reminds me of Rutger Hauer. They're like the same guy to me. Did you see Mr. Crockett? Chazflix says, did you see Mr. Crockett on Hulu? Yes, I did. I'm still I have to do a review of it. I loved it. I think that could be in a horror franchise. For those who haven't seen it, it's like, how do I describe it? There's segments of it that will remind you of a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, which is really, really lovely. But Mr. Crockett is kind of like if you combined Mr. Rogers with Bill Cosby when he did Picture Pages. I know that sounds crazy, but trust me, give it a watch. It's a fun movie. Great gore. I enjoyed it. Tom Baker says New York as it was. As New York as it was. I believe he is talking about the 7-Ups. Eric says Clint Howard. Classic. Tom Baker says Times Square in the 1970s seemed like a wild time. Yeah, my father told me about it. I hadn't gone to Times Square, New York until 2001, I think. And my father told me that in the 70s, it was like night and day because he had gone to New York, maybe, was it 2012? And he came back and he was like, they turned it into Disney World. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, Times Square used to be the seediest. It had peep shows and all this crazy stuff. And now it's like Disney World. But I do enjoy watching the 1970s horror movies for that. Not 70s. I misspoke. Let me say 70s and 80s. Because when I immediately think of it, I think of Driller Killer, which I think is 79. I think of Basket Case. I think of it's on the tip of my tongue. It's a guy. He's killing women, and he scalps them and puts their scalps on his mannequins in his room. And the guy kind of looks a little bit like Ron Jeremy. Oh God, it's like the term for murderer or psychopath. Maniac. That's what it's called. Maniac. I don't know why I was drawing a blank. Yeah, very New York. Maniac. Tom Baker says, never been to the States, bucket list. On Hulu. Yeah, it's on Hulu. Mr. Crockett is on Hulu for us over here. Shudder seems a great show. Yes, Shudder has a lot of great giallo, a lot of great 70s stuff. But they have a lot of competition from Tubi. Tubi and their collection for the 80s really, really good. And Tubi's collection for the 60s is getting really good. I only know Masterpiece song Ice Cream Man. You got to check out the original Ice Cream Man with Clint Howard. Would you buy an ice cream from Eli? No, because I saw they keep bringing up Hostel and they bring up Thanksgiving, but Cabin Fever was nasty. Eric says, they sure passionate about cinema. I mean money. Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted trying to find my mouse. No control of TV. Do you mean your remote control? How you can? Chaz says, sounds like Damien Leone lit a fire inside of Eli Roth. Now Eli wants to do under. I think Eli has been what's the word? Edited. I think he's always wanted to do extreme stuff, because when you go back and you watch stuff like Cabin Fever, or you watch stuff like Hostel, or The Green Inferno, especially The Green Inferno, because The Green Inferno was like Eli's love letter to Cannibal Holocaust. This is a guy who wants to do extreme stuff, but because he was working within the studio system, he kind of had a governor on him, like, oh, you can't do that, you can't do that. But he's found a way where he can operate as though he's an independent director outside of the studio system, but still get studio system money. That's what it seems like this deal is doing. It's allowing him to be indie, but play with studio money. Eric shows, yeah, he said he got Maniac before me. No, I wouldn't Tony Man, you can't say that of, well, Tony Man says Times Square was a more gritty Amsterdam. Parts of it, when you talk about, if you're just talking about the red light district in Amsterdam, but not the whole city, you have to say specifically the red light district in Amsterdam, because the whole city of Amsterdam is not a red light district. There's just that's a portion of Amsterdam, not the whole thing. Joe Spinell, thank you, Eric. That's the name. Joe Spinell kind of looks a little bit like Ron Jeremy, just to me. But yeah, him and Maniac, when he was pretending to be a photographer and stuff, like, it's so gritty New York. Oh, another one, Miss 45, very gritty New York. And you get to see parts of New York in Frankenhooker too, even though it's primarily meant to be in New Jersey, they still film in New York. I want to say Toxic Avenger might have been in like Long Island or something. Tony says, no, I meant my mouse. Remember TV on my laptop to TV set. Oh, okay. So you're beaming from your laptop. You're using your TV set as a mirror screen for your laptop. Got it. Okay, let's go to our next story. We only got three left to go. All right, this one is from Bloody Disgusting Psychosexual Horror Comedy Touch Me, acquired by Yellow Veil. And I'm going to do more truncated. I'm not going to read straight through all these because you guys aren't too super interested in just the distribution talk. Let me know if the distribution talk is interesting you at all. Because if not, I'll skip through it. All right, so this is written by Alex DiVincenzo for Bloody Disgusting. It says Yellow Veil Pictures has acquired the North America rights for Touch Me, following its festival run that included Sundance, Midnight, and South by Southwest, Variety reports. And this psychosexual sci-fi horror comedy, two codependent best friends become addicted to the heroin-like touch of an alien narcissist who may or may not be trying to take over the world. That actually sounds kind of interesting to me. Olivia Taylor-Dudley, The Magicians, Lou Taylor-Pucci, Evil Dead, and Jordan Garvis, Orphan Black Star. I literally shut off the notifications. I'm still getting notifications. I guess I gotta hit Do Not Disturb as well. There we go. Sorry about that. Addison Hyman, Hypochondriac, writes and directs. Filmmakers Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead from Loki and The Endless executive produced for Rustic Films. Touch Me is an astounding second feature, said Yellow Veil Pictures co-founder Joe Yannick. Addison is so playful in his stylistic choices and confident in allowing so many different ideas to bounce around, form into a film that is in equal measure funny, sexy, weird, and bloody. Okay, I can get behind that. That has me interested. Heyman added that she's admired Yellow Veil for quite some time And I am absolutely thrilled to be working with them for this freaky little movie. Megan Navarro wrote in her review out of Sundance, Hyman has a lot on his mind with his sophomore feature and neatly condenses it all into a quirky, eccentric, psychosexual camp odyssey. While its comedic elements become far more addictive than its drama, a game cast and inspired use of cinematic influences ensure a horror film unlike any other. Okay, that said a lot of nothing. While its comedic elements become far more addictive than its drama. Okay, so it's more funny than it is dramatic. A game cast and inspired use of cinematic influences ensure a horror film unlike any other. Okay, so now upon rereading it, I'm getting more the gist of what they're saying. It's beautifully, because it's saying cinematic influences, it's probably going to have these really beautiful cinematography that harkens back to earlier horror movies. Yeah, I can get behind that. So that movie is called Touch Me. There's no they just put this image and not a poster for it. So it's gotten distribution, so hopefully we will see it soon. This is festival circuit news. All right, and moving on. That was a nice short but sweet. I'll accept the cookies. I'll clean it out later. Okay, this is from Screen Daily. It's another movie that I've been looking forward to. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. This article is written by Jeremy Kay. And what is this? Skip to main content. Here we go. Fantastic Fest horror. What happened to Dorothy Bell lands Raven banner for con sales. There is a teaser for whatever happened to Dorothy Bell. I played it. We did a trailer reaction to it a few weeks ago. If you guys want me to, I can replay it, but let me get into the article. Okay. Raven Banner has acquired international sales rights to Danny Villanueva Jr.'s horror What Happened to Dorothy Bell, which premiered at 2024 Fantastic Fest. Michael Hargrove, Asia Meadows, and Lisa Wilcox star. Lisa Wilcox. Is that Lisa Wilcox from Nightmare on Elm Street 4? Because I haven't seen her since I liked her. That was Alice. If I'm not mistaken, I think Lisa Wilcox played Alice in Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Anyways, and Lisa Wilcox star in the story about Ozzie Gray, a woman who uncovers disturbing revelations from her early childhood involving her late grandmother, Dorothy Bell, and sets out to record her investigation into the event. Desperate for answers, Ozzie attempts to communicate with Dorothy's spirit and unwittingly awakens a malevolent force. Michael DeSilva and James Flair negotiated the deal for Raven Banner with Logan Taylor of Taylor Made Films and Villanueva Jr. The U.S. deal is expected to be announced soon. So that's the end of that. What I'll do is I'm going to read the next story, and then if you guys put it in the chat if you want me to replay the trailer for whatever happened to Dorothy Bell, I will. But let's go on to our final story of the day because I'm over time as it is. Eric says the driller killer was entirely shot guerrilla style in 70s New York. Most things were in the 1970s. If you see a lot of the shots of the camera panning down the street, a lot of times what they would do is they would get in a taxi and just film out the window. So I once said to somebody, imagine the amount of people in the 70s that found out they were in a movie without knowing that they were in a movie. Oh, wait, that's misspelling. Fort Apache to Bronx. Yes. Abel Ferreira shot mostly in New York City, often without permits. Yep, very much true. Abel Ferreira is the director of Driller Killer, amongst other movies. Tony Man says, did you hear about the horror movie shot from a dog's perspective called Good Boy? I did hear about that. Chazflick says Lisa Wilcox did play Alice in Elm Street 4 and 5. Yes. Sandy Absolute's in the house. Hey, Sandy. I'm glad you were able to make it. I hope your week is going okay. All right, let's get into our last story from Fangoria. Let me pull it up on my phone. Okay, here we go. This is written by Maggie Bocella. I think it's Bocella. It says there's something in the walls in Hell House LLC Lineage poster. The film is coming to theaters this summer. Now, are you guys familiar with the Hell House LLC series? I've watched all of them, I believe. And I think I reviewed the first 3. I didn't think I did a review for the 4th one. I think this might be the 5th one in the series. But we'll see. Let me leave that up there. Hell House LLC is taking things to the big screen with its latest installment. Wait, have any of them come out in a big screen? Because I've seen all the Hell Houses on either Shudder or Tubi. Yeah, I think those are the 2 that the 2 streaming platforms that the Hell House LLCs are. But is this the first one that's going to be in the theater? Let's see. Hell House LLC is taking things to the big screen with its latest installment, Hell House LLC Lineage. And to celebrate its summer release in theaters around the US and Canada, Terror Films Releasing has dropped a brand new poster for the bone-chilling new film. Hell House LLC Lineage will see the return of numerous characters from other installments in the franchise, including the Carmichael siblings from Hell House LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor, as well as Elizabeth Vermilia as Vanessa Shepard, the resurrected documentarian from Hell House LLC Lake of Fire. The film's logline is as follows. Haunted by visions and reoccurring nightmares years after a near-death experience, Vanessa Shepard finds herself living in the town of Abaddon, unable to break free from its unexplainable hold on her. When people around her suddenly and inexplicably begin to die, she soon uncovers her terrifying connection to the Abaddon Hotel, the Carmichael Manor, and the mysterious murders that have been occurring for decades, long before Hell House LLC. This installment of the franchise will also be shot as a narrative film. It's not found footage anymore? They're pulling a Blair Witch 2. Remember Blair Witch 2, the Book of Shadows? They're pulling a Blair Witch. This installment of the franchise will also be shot as a narrative film, moving away from the found footage format that made the franchise so popular in the first place. This is by far the biggest Hell House of the series. Before I continue, the director of Hell House LLC does have a movie called, what is it? 435 something Avenue. Oh, it's on Shudder. It's a house number on Shudder. It's a decent movie. We talked about it a couple weeks ago on what we watched last weekend. Tony Man, if you can find the name of that movie, put it in the chat for me, please. But they did it. That was a film with a regular narrative structure and not a found footage. So I think that showed that the people behind Hell House LLC can do more than found footage. So let me get back into this. This is by far the biggest Hell House of the series, so experiencing it in a theater is definitely the best way to consume the final chapter, said. Oh, it's the final chapter? Really? That's what they told us about Friday the 13th. That's what they told us about Freddy's Dead. That's what they told us about the Final Destination. I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, so where was I? This is by far the biggest Hell House of the series, so experiencing it in a theater is definitely the best way to consume the final chapter, said director Stephen Cognetti when the film's theatrical release was initially announced. For the story, scope, and scares I want to write in Lineage, found footage was going to be too restrictive to make the film that I wanted to make. I set out to make a Hell House movie like you've never seen, and I promise you won't be disappointed in the change of format. Many fans don't know, or let me rewind. What many fans don't know is that we attempted a theatrical release with the original Hell House LLC, but we could not secure partners back then due to it being an unproven intellectual property, added Terror Films CEO Joe Dane. We had a smaller theatrical release set for Origins until we lost our window due to Taylor Swift's Eras tour. This is truly a film for the fans, and we're excited to finally bring this franchise to the big screen. It's better late than never, and we're thrilled to support this release. Hell House LLC Lineage will premiere in theaters on August 20th. Let me scroll down so you guys can see the full poster. Oh, shoot. It scrolled up on me. Here we go. This is like, it's still not showing a full poster, but it's okay. Where was I? Hell House LLC Lineage will premiere in theaters on August 20th, and tickets are available for pre-order now. Check out the poster. Thank you, Tony Man. Yes, the movie I was talking about is 825 Forest Road. It's by the same director of Hell House LLC. It's on Shudder, and it's really good. I enjoyed it. I mean, for streaming. If I paid to see it in a movie theater, I'd be like, this is not really good enough to pay to see. But I think it's worth a watch if you already have the streaming platform. Okay. Tom Baker says, my scariest 1973 movie, Legend of Hell House. The thing with the Legend of Hell House, which I remember my sister showing me, and also testing out her new surround sound, the sound in that movie. Like, if there's a movie you want to watch in surround sound, it's The Legend of Hell House. The sound is amazing in that movie. Let me change the sorry about that. I bounced out by mistake. I hit the wrong thing. Okay. Sandy Absolute says, I love Hell House LLC, the entire franchise. Tom Baker says, I had nightmares seeing that movie at 9 years old. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can imagine. Because the clowns in the basement. The clown. If I was a child watching Hell House LLC, the clowns in the basement would freak me out. Tom Baker says ghost movie. Or are you talking about Legend of Hell House, Tom Baker? Sandy says, I was a little late watching the franchise. I just saw them last year. The first and the second one scared me for weeks. Yeah, I was late watching them too because I didn't watch them until I want to say 2022 maybe is when I saw them. She also says would love to see this in theaters. And also it would have been awesome to see them in theaters. The poster is doing just what it's supposed to do. Yeah, it's a great poster. I think they should do a re-release. Like, I don't see why they shouldn't re-release the first one. Like, because it never got released in theaters, why not put, like, what they're doing with Megan? Megan is going back in theaters next month. I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters, but they're going to put Megan back in theaters before Megan 2.0 comes out. Tom Baker says, yes, 1973. I'm 49. Okay, yeah. So you're talking about The Legend of Hell House. But still, the children that stumbled upon Hell House LLC, I think they'd be scared too. I think about that when I see stuff on I just was talking about Tubi. They have some wild stuff on Tubi that children have access to. I hope you guys know this. Martyrs is on Tubi. Like, what? Why? Why is it on Tubi? For the kids? Oh, that is too extreme of a movie. What else did I see on there? And I was like, oh my goodness, the kids. I cue the lady from The Simpsons. What about the children? But let me stop rambling. I got to get out of here because I am hungry. It is dinner time. And you know what? I forgot to make an outro for this news program. I have to do an outro next week. I'm going to use the outro for what we watched last week. But thank you guys for coming through. I had a good time. I wasn't sure whether this would play well. It's just something I always wanted to do as far as like doing a horror news program. And I'm glad that it was well received. So I will be back next week, probably the same time. Yeah, 6 o'clock seems to work out pretty well. And thank you guys for coming through and being very, very active in the community. I really, really appreciate you guys. We have 2 more comments before I go. So he says, I guess I'll make my dinner now. Tom Baker says the best stream, more viewers should show up. Yeah. I hope it gains steam because it's brand new. I don't expect too many people to know about me. But hey, if you guys ever want to share me on your social medias, I appreciate that. But with that, thank you guys again, and have a good Wednesday night. Find something cool to watch and relax. The week is half over.